There we go.
All right.
Are we back? We're not back yet.
Okay, here we go. All right, well.
Now, what I was saying was we had to, this is where the treasure is buried.
Yes. Oh, well, I'm sorry if you missed our connection video. We were talking about the two greatest things of Christmas, silver and gold. And
where to get it.
That's right. We're sorry about that. We'll just keep that secret to ourselves.
We had the ghost of Christmas presents in there. And he left us this blood red tree. We got this from Melania Trump, the White House.
We stole it, actually.
All right, enough of that. It looks big behind here, but it's actually just a little thing.
It's just a little tree.
This is it's either a tree or a poinsettia. Okay. Or it's either a small tree or a large poinsettia. I don't know which one. But it's Christmas. So let me move this.
Bye.
I was afraid I was going to knock this over the whole time.
I know, and it stood up.
I was hoping it was going to be used as a I thought it was going to be used as an antenna to help the Wi-Fi, but those hopes were dashed.
Well, welcome back to the second half of our show, which this show is being sponsored, well, we just found out, by the Grinch. So
we got to start the whole show over again. Now let me tell you about the sports and Tom Brady and everything. Go ahead.
But anyway, the Grinch has sponsored this 30-minute segment, so we have to talk about him.
The Grinch?
Yeah. So I forgot the gentleman who sung the song.
I can tell you all about that.
Yes.
Oh, it's my favorite Christmas song.
Uh-huh.
And I'm always afraid to sing it at karaoke, because it is listed in the karaoke. But it's not a very hopeful song like a lot of them. Like the most Christmas songs. Yes. And it's You're a Mean One, Little Mr. Grinch. And it's really good. I mean, and you'll never forget. A lot of people think Boris Karloff sings it, because it's sort of like in this Grinch's speaking voice, but it's not him. Oh. He was uncredited for like 40, 50 years until they put his name, and his name is, and it's very interesting what his name is. Thurl Ravenscroft.
Yeah, Ravenscroft.
And he's most famous, if the voice sounds familiar, as the voice of Tony the Tiger.
No, no way.
They're great. And he had this deep voice. And when I was a kid, there was a show called Johnny Mann's Stand Up and Sing. It was like this. All these young people in white sweaters singing patriotic songs and all, and he was the only old guy in the group. It was the old guy like leading it, but a really old guy. Must have been like 70 years old. And he had a really good singing voice, and he had a deep voice and everything. And he'd get to sing a solo, and they always had to mention, this guy, his other job, this isn't his main job. His real job is he's the voice of Tony the Tiger. And he goes, they're great. And so he did the voice, the singing, You're a Mean One, Mr. Grinch. And the guy who wrote it is very interesting. Was a guy, he's not really famous as a songwriter. His name was Albert Haig. Okay. But he became famous as an actor on the show Fame as the music teacher, the guy with the beard, the professor on there.
Yeah.
And he was I think he was a music professor and a songwriter, and he wrote all the music in How the Grinch Stole Christmas. So there you go. He had a really weird story about that show. And also, I was listening to a podcast with Gilbert Gottfried with the daughter of Boris Karloff, and he's famous for three things: the Frankenstein, and then all those horror movies. That he made after Frankenstein, and then pretty much one of the last things he did was the Grinch That Stole Christmas. And some people are lucky if they have one great thing happen to them in their life. He had three great things.
Three great
things he's famous. Yeah.
Nice. So, Now, I always watch the cartoon every year, and it's nice to see the cartoon. Oh yeah. Now, the movie, that might be a different story with Jim Carrey in it.
Yeah. Well, they actually, I think it works better as a half-hour cartoon than it does.
Yeah.
In fact, if you ever read the Grinch book, it was a lot of people bought the book after they saw the show, and the book is not all. It's not even green in it because they didn't have that much color. For you know, a lot of times, a lot of these books are done very cheaply. You notice there's only like 3 colors in the whole, and I think there's not green in the Grinch. He's like white. He's draw. He looks the same, but he's not. You know, and then you see the cartoon on television, and he's green.
He's green,
and which is what you associate the Grinch with. Where you like Prince is purple, and then he's green.
He's green.
A panda is black and white.
He's green with money.
Yeah, and he then they actually had to make the book longer because the book you can read in like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And then, because it's a children's book, you read it to your kids before they go to sleep. You don't want to read a half-hour thing. You want to read something short. And so they fleshed it out a bit. And then they made a 2-hour movie after that.
Yeah.
That's actually really pushing the envelope. It's not
my goodness.
The Grinch is not all that interesting for 2 hours.
Yeah.
In fact, you can only take but so much of the Grinch after 2 hours.
Yes, exactly.
After a half hour.
I was like, okay, what more storylines can you give this guy? He sits down with Cindy Lou Who. They have a little tea together and stuff like that. It's like, what are you doing, people?
You know, I did not care for the Grinch when I was a kid.
Oh.
All my friends loved it. But as a little kid, I was scared of that show.
Oh, okay,
I did not like the idea of somebody coming into my house and robbing me of everything. And, you know, people talk about, you know, well, I don't like to hear about the non-existence of God or, you know, atheists and stuff. Well, on The Grinch That Stole Christmas, you don't see Santa Claus anywhere.
That's true.
And Santa Claus never intervenes and saves the day.
Nope.
And the Grinch pretty much gets away with it. It's only because his heart gets bigger that he gives all the stuff back.
Gives all the stuff back.
And they're not really mad at him.
No. What is wrong with these whoos?
They should have locked him up in jail.
Yeah. And you know the one thing that I always thought every year when I was a kid, the Grinch gets mad. Yeah. He tries to steal Christmas, and then all of a sudden he has a good heart and gives the gifts back. Yes. But then after New Year's, it's like maybe the Grinch gets mad. It's like he just go back to reverse, and then here comes December. Then all of a sudden he's angry again, and then it's like, oh, I'm gonna steal Christmas again, and then the cycle goes over and over and over.
I know people like the Grinch in real life, and they don't make these. They may come around for a day, like you said. Yeah. But pretty much their real self seeps back in pretty in no time. Okay, I'll give back the gifts. Yeah. And then the next week, you know, I never should have given back.
That's right, give them back. Yes.
But there's no Santa Claus, and then I think briefly there's in a shot in the Jim Carrey live action Grinch, you do see Santa Claus, but I think he's just ignored. Oh, but he does exist. But we're living in a Santaless town.
Can anybody find this town?
Yeah,
Whoville.
I don't even know if it's American.
No,
could be Canadian.
It would be Canadian. You need a passport to get there.
I think they speak English, so it's probably Canadian, but it doesn't seem American.
No. It's like they're maybe right on the border. It's like,
it's a border town. The Grinch might live on the other side. Whatever country it's in, he probably lives on the other side. And that's probably how he thought he could get away with it. I didn't like the idea of the dog dragging.
Oh, I know, the poor dog.
Yeah, but I mean, does the dog have that much strength?
He must. I mean, golly.
And the Grinch. What else can I tell you about the Grinch? Yeah, the guy who made the Grinch to actually animate it, not Dr. Seuss, but the actual animator was Chuck Jones. And it was one of the last few things he did before he retired. He lived a long time. And he was famous for doing like the Roadrunner and Bugs Bunny and stuff. And you sometimes now when you watch, if you like me, watched a lot of Bugs Bunny and stuff, I like to think of myself as the human Bugs Bunny. I really like Bugs Bunny, and you see little elements of that animation in the Grinch Who Stole Christmas. I also like Woody Woodpecker.
That's
Woody
right,
Woodpecker.
Woody Woodpecker
is the troublemaker. Oh gosh, he's sort of like an insane Bugs Bunny.
He is.
He's like Bugs Bunny, only a little. Even Bugs Bunny probably doesn't want to hang around with Woody Woodpecker.
No, you stay over there.
They're my favorites. Yeah.
And as a matter of fact, with the Grinch, I was thinking that Chuck Jones, yes, he made the Grinch. The Grinch came out in what year? 68?
No. Well, it was still on it. I think it was 66 or something.
66.
Maybe
Okay.
even
Okay.
before that.
Okay.
It came out. I think it came out a little after, maybe a year or two after the Charlie Brown Christmas, which was 64.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
So that's why I
Brown
assumed it's
Christmas.
66. Yeah.
Yeah. That's another great cartoon right there.
I have a feeling I remember seeing it in. I don't want to put too many years in where I went to, but I remember seeing it in second grade, and that was a couple of years after the Charlie Brown Christmas. I'm older than I look.
but
See all these wrinkles? I once said to somebody, "These are." They said I went to a high school reunion and said, "Look at all the wrinkles you have," and I said, "These aren't wrinkles; these are laugh lines." The guy said, "Nothing could be that funny."
Oh, golly!
Oh, I'm going to a high school reunion tomorrow.
Really?
Yeah, they announced it on the internet that my if you want to show up at a brewery tomorrow, because Christmas is a few days from now. A lot of people are in town. I want to show up, and I think I'll show up.
Okay.
Cause a lot of times you go to high school reunions, you have to pay like a $50 fee and have your picture on a badge and stuff. And but then there I just show up and say, "Look at me! I haven't. Look, I'm still the same. Haven't improved in 20 years."
Well, what's believable is that we both went to the same high school, and my reunion's coming up next year. Yeah, I may go. Maybe not.
You know what I found out about reunions, high school reunions? The girl that doesn't talk to you in high school, at your reunion, she still doesn't talk to you.
She's just a lot older with bags.
Yeah. With baggage, more like. Yeah. But they're nice people. So I mean, the people. Usually when I go to them, I usually have a good time.
Yeah.
Because I've lived all over the world.
Oh yes.
I noticed that. And like at high school reunions, there are certain like couples that met in high school and they're still married after so many years.
Yeah.
But then most of the guys like, "Oh yeah, I married her, and I'm on my third wife now. It's a lot younger."
Oh, I know a few of those. Oh yeah.
In fact, maybe I could find a woman like 30 years younger than me to come to this. Pretend she's my girlfriend.
Yeah, that might be a good idea. Yeah.
Don't steal my idea. That's I'm patenting it. Patenting it.
That's right. If you're looking, don't steal his idea.
Yeah. Well, anyway, so I was talking about ties earlier, and and the reason why I put this tie on because it's the only tie, because I just got it today, thanks to Mary Elizabeth. It's the only tie I've never worn on a show before,
and I feel privileged.
Yeah. So what happened? I should wear it on her show. I'll probably wear it on her. But I a lot of people. I never wear the same outfit twice. Yeah. I've never in my whole life worn the same. I'll tell you how it works, and it's kind of cool. I have sport coats, shirts, pants, and ties.
Yeah.
And I have them all hanging in closets and everything in where I live. And then and then I grab a tie, I grab a shirt, a jacket, mix them up, and then I put a tie on. And I think, except for a few tuxedos that I have worn, on formal occasions.
Oh yeah.
I've never. If the tie is always, the shirt is always, the jacket is always different. So, and the ties are always different because I actually have 2 racks, and I take one. I have hundreds of ties, really, and then I put this, and then I put it over there, and then I put it. Now, if it's a new tie like this, I give it a second go round.
Yes,
so,
yes.
But then it becomes that. Tie. So I used to know a woman who was accused where I worked of never wearing the same outfit twice. She was a real clothes horse. Ooh. But I actually had to say, they say that about you, but it's true about me. And it's nothing I set out to do. It's just I'm always look fresh. Sometimes I'll even go to look at shows, past shows I've done recently, and I said, did I wear that tie before? Did I wear that tie?
Well,
when we were on the Gorgeous George show, I always tried to. Sometimes I wore really wild stuff, red sport coats. And
yes,
stuff,
I love those.
And that was so because there were so many channels. When people changed the channel, or were flipping through the channel, they could stop on the cover and say, "What's that guy wearing? Pink and purple sequins? Oh, I gotta hear what this guy has to say.
Let me check that guy out."
And then they listen. It's an empty suit. You should just put the suit up there on a coat rack and just put that up for an hour.
And put a speaker up there.
To be honest with you, when I was on the Gorgeous George show, it didn't really matter what I said anyway, because he did all the talking.
He did all the talking.
George is a good guy. I used to say, he said, George would sometimes say to me, "I want you on the show, I want you on the show." I said, you really think the show is an ensemble? This is a show is an ensemble like the Rocky movies are an ensemble.
Oh, golly. The Gorgeous George show is almost like it's a laugh a minute. Except we
had a lot of good jokes on there. People would call in and they would say, "What's this show about?" And we'd say, "It's about an hour." and then people would say, how they phrase? They said, I would call the show and I'd say, my friends who live in Chesterfield can't watch this show because they don't get it. He goes, I think the show is on in Chesterfield. I said, no, it's on, but they don't get it. But this show is worldwide.
That's right.
You could be anywhere in the world with the internet, and you can see it anywhere. My cousins all over the world. I have cousins all over the world. In Ireland and in Spain and parts of America. I think I don't think it goes any further. Oh, Ireland, of course. England and Spain and then America.
Yes, we're going to try to make the show worldwide. My relatives, they watch the show, and my friends watch the show, and that's really wonderful of them. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
And, I mean, it's great to be on internet television.
Yeah. I love it.
Wonderful, yes. It's like on the Gorgeous George show. We're local, and then sometimes I would probably call up and says, "Is your refrigerator running?" And then it's like, "Yeah, it's right behind me."
Yeah, better stop. And so when people, I always tell people any show I do, like the show, I say, put the show. You don't have to watch the show. You might want to see how we look for about 5-10 seconds, but then after that, you could just wash your dishes.
Listen to us.
Yeah, just play it on because it's basically not a visual show. Because we love to talk.
That's right. And see, normally I would be wearing my hockey jersey or some sports jersey, but tonight I just threw something on because it's Christmas and I didn't feel like dressing up much.
Are you fishing for people to buy a tuxedo? Or?
Yes. It's like
or top hat.
Or top hat. Yes, it's like bowling for tuxedos.
I wore a tuxedo last week.
Oh,
And
nice.
I saw a movie called The House of Gucci. Okay.
Oh, that was a great movie.
Yeah, wasn't it good?
Yes,
and Adam
yes.
Driver in one long scene, he just wears a tuxedo though.
Yeah.
And I said, Adam Driver is. Some people say he's a good-looking guy. I thought he looked good in a tuxedo, and everybody looks good in a tuxedo.
Right.
So I thought, well, I'm going to spend the whole day. I went to a couple of parties, and I did a show singing, dancing with Mary Elizabeth at her show, and so I said, we're talking all because of that House of Gucci movie. Because of Adam Driver and if you want to see that movie, whatever you do, don't go to Wikipedia and see, and it'll just tell you the whole story of what happened and everything. And it's better if you don't know the story just to watch the movie unfold.
See it.
Lady Gaga and everybody.
She did a great job. Sometimes I didn't even know it was her.
Yeah, it didn't look like her.
It didn't even look like her.
Yeah.
Now, Adam Driver, is he Kylo Ren in
He's
Star
the guy.
Wars?
He's in the Star Wars.
Okay,
movie.
I thought so.
And he's on I know him from the show Girls with Lena Dunham.
Oh yeah.
And, but he's never out of work. That guy. He's in movies, in good movies with Martin Scorsese and a few Jim Jarmusch films. And now he's in He's in 2 Ridley Scott films. He's in one about the Last Duel and House of Gucci.
Guy always finds work, like Kevin Hart.
Kevin Hart. Well, Kevin Hart is actually. I mean, he's good, but he's a comedian. So being a comedian, as long as you're funny, you're
as long as you're funny, you're going to go somewhere.
Well, an actor has to be hired. And so I have this. I think I've been talking about this. I feel like I'm doing an ad for it. They should give it, at least give it for free. But it's almost free. It's about $21, and I have this thing on my phone that I can see all the movies I want.
Oh yes,
$21 a month, and I've seen everything. I saw House of Gucci. I saw Nightmare Alley. I saw West Side Story. I even saw the Disney film Encanto. I didn't really care for that one too much. I thought it would be good because Lin-Manuel Miranda did the music, but it was no Hamilton. Or it was no anything he did. But I mean, it's good. I'm not saying it's terrible. I'm just saying it was still a kid's movie.
Okay.
But I did, and I actually had to go on the internet. I'm like, it's a kids' movie. I had to go on the internet to explain what was going on, because I didn't understand it. It took place in Colombia.
Yes.
And but the other movies I understood: West Side Story, House of Gucci,
Oh yeah.
Nightmare Alley. A lot of
Resident Evil. Have you seen that?
No, I don't usually see horror movies.
Okay.
I don't like really violent blood. Even though some of those movies that I mentioned had violence in them, but they weren't horror movies.
Yeah.
They weren't like those. You were telling where you always talk about those movies. Saw. I don't know.
Yeah, Saw.
Any interest in seeing them. But people will describe like 5 minutes of this 2-hour movie, and I don't want to see that. When I was a kid, when I was a teenager, the Friday the 13th movies.
Yeah.
But isn't and you see them when you're a teenager, you think they're really cool, but then when you look back on them, it's basically just people being murdered for 2 hours.
Yeah,
Is that my entertainment now?
Yeah.
They made it funny to be different, but they didn't make it funny.
Oh my goodness. Well, actually, have you seen Ghostbusters yet?
Oh yeah, I saw Ghostbusters. Yeah.
How was that one?
Yeah, that was good. The Ghostbusters movies are always pretty good because there's always they follow a sort of a formula, even the one with the women in it, and then at the end they all fight the Ghostbusters. The ghosts, they're the busters.
They bust them ghosts.
They bust the ghosts. Yeah.
Now, have you seen the new Spider-Man movie yet?
No, because I'm glad you mentioned the new Spider-Man movie. It's probably going to play for a while, and I don't really see. I have to pay attention to what's playing. The reason why I saw West Side Story and Nightmare Alley. Oh, there's a good point. I'm glad you brought this up.
Sure.
I thought all these Christmas movies were going to play through February or something, and a lot of them, because Spider-Man is such a big hit, they don't want to keep a theater open for 2 or 3 people to see West Side Story and Nightmare Alley. So I had to see those right away if I wanted to see them in the theater. And Spider-Man, let's face it, it's going to be playing for a while. I can see it probably in February or March. And so thus I'll probably see it before then. But I have to see what's going to leave. It's almost like trading stocks or something. Well, what's going up, what's going down, and then you do.
Yes.
And thus I try to see, try to see as many good movies as I can. I have a strange work schedule, and there's like maybe 2 or 3 hours in the middle of a weekday that that I work in the morning and then I work later in the day. So like a lot of businessmen, and then I have that time. You talk to the people when they're available, and a lot of times between 12 and 4 they're not available. So I go to the movies,
which is great. I mean, that is absolutely great.
I'd rather go to the movies and watch television.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping theater will come back so I can actually go to the theater. That's what I really like.
I know. It's been a pain dealing with these Omicron, Megatron, whatever that thing is out now. But luckily, the virus is heading downwards, and it's starting to really I shouldn't say mutate itself. It's more like it's now muting itself. Yeah.
Well, the joke I always give about the vaccinations is if they had a vaccination for dandruff, I would take it. I'm a health nut, and I was very happy with getting all these vaccinations. And at the point now that even if I get a booster here and there, I certainly get my flu shot every year, even before the pandemic. I'm not really as fearful of COVID as I was. Right. And when it first happened, there was no vaccine. I thought this could kill us all, like in 12 Monkeys or all the Andromeda strain. There's all these, and then it killed a lot of people. It killed a lot of people in 1917.
Yes.
1918, and so now they say that if you do what they say to do, even if you catch COVID, you probably won't die of it. But 800,000 people have already died of it. So, and this is my speech to people who haven't been vaccinated. I'm telling people that everyone who didn't get vaccinated and got COVID and was on their deathbed and died, probably the last thing going through their head was, is it too late to get the vaccination now?
I'll tell you one thing. If you do get COVID, if the doctors give you hydrochloroquine or monoclonals, I know out in Israel and in United Arab Emirates, Spain, a lot of European countries, it works very well. And you're well within 48 to 72 hours.
If you're sick, you'll take anything.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
You know my joke about medicine, though, is that whatever medicine that ever was invented, may not, hydroxychloroquine,
now
they said interferon. They
said
interferon would cure AIDS. It didn't cure AIDS. But I mean, they try everything.
Hydroxychloroquine.
But let me tell you something. Every medicine that's ever been invented, there was always a bald-headed man who rubbed it on his bald head to see if it would grow hair. So maybe it won't cure this, but maybe it might cure hair loss. Every once in a while, you had Rogaine or something. That did work.
We have to get them as a sponsor.
Yeah, let me tell you about Rogaine. That was in fact, it's still used in higher doses as a blood pressure medicine or something.
Oh, wow.
And what happened was it was working or it didn't work or something, but they found that the side effect was people who were bald were growing hair. Hey, maybe this isn't what we should be using it. Maybe we should be using it to grow hair. So they lowered the dose so much to the point where all that most people who take Rogaine, all it's really good for is the symptom that it grows hair. So.
That is so cool.
Yeah.
Kevin.
So that there's there was medicine. Thalidomide, you probably heard of this. Back in like 1960, kids were born. It was a pregnant women would take it, and in England, I think it was, and the kids were born without arms and legs.
Yeah,
they're still, those kids are all the same age. It all happened within 6 months. So they stopped it. It's a dangerous drug and everything. Yeah. Then they found out that in certain AIDS trials, that people could take it and it would alleviate the symptoms of AIDS. And this is like maybe 30 years later they found this out.
Wow.
But if you take it,
Uh-huh.
you have to sign all these things that you're not going to have kids, that you're a man, that helps. That type of thing. But if you're a woman, you have to be, so you can't get pregnant on those things.
Oh my goodness.
But it's weird. Probably one of the age you probably shouldn't have.
No.
Be having kids anyway.
No.
Yeah, so because you could give it to the child.
That's right. Yeah.
But so I'd like to think that for this Christmas season we get healthier and all.
Yes.
I have a coffee cake.
Yes, a coffee
Drake
cake.
coffee cake.
Yeah.
Made famous on Seinfeld. And I've been giving these out to people, and they're really good. They're very crummy.
Crummy bummy.
I mean crumbly.
Crumbly.
Did I say crummy? They're good actually.
Yeah, they look pretty
They get
good.
all over the place.
There you
You pick most of it up off your lap. But to you, I want to thank you
Thank
for
you.
having me as your guest.
Yes, and Merry
On your
Christmas
show.
and Happy New Year and all them holidays we don't even know about, including everybody's favorite holiday, Happy Gerber Snap Day.
Gerber snap?
Yes.
What's that? Tell
I
me
don't
about
know what's Gerber Snap, but we
Gerber
always say Happy Gerber Snaps.
it. Gerber, like the Gerber baby food? That baby that's still there?
Yes. But I thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. It's good to have
It's
you.
been a pleasure as always. And of course, we thank our sponsors.
Jingle all the way.
Jingle, he's got a jingle bell. Jingle all the way with that. And our sponsors, Trim Fast, lose that 300 pounds in 15 seconds. Eddie Murphy is a witness. Yes, and we're witnesses.
Yeah.
We've done it.
Right on.
And the Heartbreak Hotel. Just remember, Elvis will be there. Heartbreak Hotel, every day, Heartbreak Hotel. He's got a tie with Elvis on it, and it's an honor. Thank you for
The sole proprietor.
sole proprietor of Heartbreak Hotel.
The ghost of Elvis.
And it's an honor to have you wear that tie as your
Thank you.
first spot ever. And thank you for wearing it on my show.
There you go.
Now, for everybody else,
Is
thank
this our
you.
is this our last show of 2021, or we go to a show next week?
I really don't know yet.
It might be our last show of 2021.
Might be the
so
last show of
see you next year,
2021.
maybe.
If it is, yes, see you next year. And we did make it into Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
So technically it is a Thursday show. Yay. But once again, we're going to have to talk to Mr. Rogaine, see if we can get him as a sponsor.
Rogaine.
Thank you, Kevin, so much. And once again, I shake your hand as a great host, co-host, and everything. And and the ties, just keep them coming. Especially, I like his UVA tie. If you haven't seen his UVA tie, I think that's my favorite tie, the UVA tie. Merry Christmas, everybody. Happy New Year. And if we don't see you soon, we'll see you next year. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.